Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. If you like tech and helpful tips, don't forget to subscribe. Let's get started.
You've just pulled your brownies from the oven, eagerly anticipating that perfect fudgy square, only to discover, after they've cooled slightly, that the center is still disappointingly gooey, almost raw batter. Don't despair. Undercooked brownies are a common baking mishap, but they are far from unsalvageable. The good news is there are several effective ways to fix or repurpose them, turning a potential disaster into a delicious triumph. If your brownies are still warm and the center is just slightly underdone, perhaps they didn't quite pass the toothpick test, showing moist crumbs but no raw batter, your first and best option is often to simply return them to the oven. Preheat your oven to a lower temperature, around 300 degrees Fahrenheit 150 degrees Celsius, and cover the pan loosely with aluminum foil. This prevents the edges from overbaking and drying out while allowing the center to cook through. Bake them for an additional 10 to 15 minutes, checking every 5 minutes with a toothpick inserted into the center. Look for moist crumbs, not wet batter. If you're worried about them drying out, you can even place a small, oven-safe dish of water in the oven to create some steam. This method works best if you catch the undercooking early. What if they've cooled completely and you've cut into them only to find a truly raw, liquidy center? Baking them further in the pan might not be ideal as the outer pieces are likely perfectly cooked or even a bit dry. In this scenario, you have fantastic opportunities to transform them into entirely new, delightful desserts. One popular solution is to embrace the gooiness and turn them into brownie truffles or cake pops. Simply scoop out the undercooked portions, crumble them thoroughly into a bowl, and if necessary, mix with a tablespoon or two of cream cheese, frosting, or melted chocolate to create a workable dough. Roll these into small balls, chill them until firm, and then dip them in melted chocolate or roll them in sprinkles, cocoa powder, or chopped nuts. These are always a crowd pleaser and hide any evidence of their undercooked origins. Another excellent repurposing strategy is to make brownie crumbles. Break up the undercooked brownies into small pieces and spread them on a baking sheet. You can lightly toast them in a low oven, around 250 degrees Fahrenheit or 120 degrees Celsius, for 10 to 15 minutes to dry them out slightly and develop a deeper flavor, or just use them as is. These crumbles are perfect for topping ice cream sundaes, layering in parfaits with yogurt and fruit, or even stirring into milkshakes for a decadent treat. Imagine a brownie bread pudding. The gooey texture of undercooked brownies is actually an advantage here, as it will absorb liquids beautifully and bake into a wonderfully moist pudding. Simply tear the brownies into chunks, arrange them in a baking dish, pour over a custard mixture, eggs, milk, sugar, vanilla, and bake until set. For smaller, individual pieces that are just a little too soft, a quick microwave fix can sometimes work. Place a single brownie on a microwave-safe plate and heat it on 50% power for 10 to 15-second intervals, checking after each burst. Be careful not to overcook, as brownies can become tough and chewy in the microwave. This method is best for small adjustments, not for thoroughly baking a large, raw center. Finally, remember that sometimes the best fix is to simply chill them. If the brownies are only slightly gooey, refrigerating them for several hours, or even freezing them for an hour, can firm them up enough to be cut cleanly and enjoyed as super-fudgy, dense squares. The cold temperature will solidify the fats and sugars, making them much easier to handle and eat, and often improving their texture. Next time, always use the toothpick test, look for moist crumbs, and err on the side of slightly underdone for fudgy brownies, as they continue to cook from residual heat after coming out of the oven. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more baking tips and tricks.